What are some of the manifestations and signs that show and illustrate that one has been affected by liberalism? Number one, a dislike and aversion with the religion and its rulings. You'll find these individuals, whenever you tell them about haram, you see them getting angry. You see them getting angry and they have a dislike for it. And they begin to mock and belittle these things. This is a sign that one has become affected by liberalism. Two, belittlement and mockery of religious people or imams or mashayikh. You'll find that the things that trigger them the most are people who are practicing. The things that trigger them the most is something that a shaykh may have said. However, let a celebrity do something from the most immoral of things and you'll find them celebrating it. So what do they judge based on? They judge based on the freedom rule of liberalism. We are free to do as we please, and morality actually does not come from what Allah has legislated, but is based on whatever I feel like. And so immorality is celebrated today and praised, and morality and enjoining good and forbidding evil is demonized and mocked. Number three, you'll find a lot of people, when you explain things to them, they'll say to you, if they're not practicing, they'll say, to be honest, I'm not really a practicing Muslim. And when you ask them, what do they mean by that? They don't pray, they don't fast, they've never done Hajj, if they were able to. There's almost absolutely nothing that they practice of Islam. And so the concept of a non-practicing Muslim has become this similar to Christianity, where someone says, yeah, I really don't go to church. I really don't read the Bible that much. They've become exactly like that. But in Islam, if you don't do any of these things, you're not a Muslim. That is the danger. There's no such thing as, okay, my name is Muhammad or Aisha, and I don't do anything that Islam has ordained, and I don't stay away from anything that it has forbidden, and I actually believe I'm free to do as I please, but yeah, I'm just not a practicing Muslim. It doesn't work like that. There's Iman and there's Kufr. There's Iman and there's Kufr. And then there are the bare minimum that one must do in order to remain as a Muslim. And if you don't do that bare minimum, then you're in a danger of leaving the fold of Islam, and you may not even know it. And so this requires then one to learn their religion in order to know what that bare minimum is, so that they're not walking on this earth believing that their name Muhammad or Aisha is what's going to get them into paradise, or the fact that their parents are Muslim or that their grandparents were Muslim. That is not what gets you into paradise. If that got anyone into paradise, that would have helped the relatives of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if it were to help anyone. 4, glorification and awe of the Western world and an attitude of disrespect towards the Muslim world. Just speak to a common Muslim today about hijrah and leaving the West and going back home, and see how they speak, and see what they say about that concept. If it is a discussion about, okay, you have to have a plan, etc., that's understood. However, when they see it as such a lowly thing, and what are you going to do back home? What are you going to do in Africa or in Asia or in the Middle East? Basically, life is here in the West. That is a sign that one has become affected by liberalism. 5, their viewpoint in life. Whatever brings worldly advancement has value, and whatever is for the hereafter has little to no importance. And if you see the way that they live their lives and what they value and what is important to them, gathering of money and jobs and degrees and all of these things that are permissible in and of themselves with the correct intention, and whatever job it is or degree it is, that it has to be permissible. But however, those things are not the purpose of life, but they have their priorities upside down, and the life of being a servant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and worshipping Him and showing gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everything that He has given you, that is secondary. That's just something put to the side for another day. However, getting somewhere in life and gathering money and saving money, filling your bank account and all of these things, just living for this life. And as we mentioned previously, liberalism separates this life. There is no concept of hereafter when it comes to liberalism. And that is how you see the manifestation in the lives of Muslims today, that the only thing they're living for is this life. And there's absolutely nothing beyond that. And then death comes suddenly and there's no time left. 6, the only aspect of Islam that one is interested in is advocating for rights, even rights that oppose Islam altogether. So the only time that you'll see these discussions of Islam or mention of Islam or what Islam is and anything from people who've become affected by of liberalism or by liberalism is when they're talking about rights and freedoms. But when it comes to Tawheed, when it comes to obeying Allah, when it comes to Salah, when it comes to hijab, when it comes to death, when it comes to the grave, when it comes to Jannah and Nar, when it comes to Yawm al-Qiyamah, when it comes to Qadr, the good of it and the evil of it, none of those things are ever discussed. Those are foreign concepts. But when it comes to justice and rights and freedoms, etc., that is the only time you will hear these individuals speaking about Islam. 7, no connection to Tawheed or its practice whatsoever. Which just goes back to the fact that the purpose of life, the concept that worshipping Allah is the fact that you were created, is a foreign concept. Many Muslims don't even know that, which is the unfortunate thing. And if these prominent scholars that are so praised and loved by the common Muslims nowadays, if they actually called to the correct methodology, then the majority of the Muslims would know this. However, that is a proof that that call is a failed call and not one of the Prophet.